Good afternoon, friends. Myself, Sainath Lambade, and today we are going to continue the subbit that is a cerebrum. As we have discussed about the forebrain in the last lecture of the chapter control and coordination. In forebrain, first of all, we have discussed about the forebrain olfactory lobe. In the forebrain we have first discussed about the olfactory lobe that is actually related with smell, and another name for the olfactory lobe that is a rhiniencephalon, that is called as a rhiniencephalon. Now just we are going to discuss about the cerebrum. As you all know that cerebrum is the largest part of the human brain. Cerebrum is the largest part of the human brain and most prominent as well as complex part of a forebrain. It is also complex part of the forebrain and making about 80% of the total 85% of the total brain. In brain, 85% space is occupied by the cerebrum, as you know that. This cerebrum has been divided into two parts, that is a right cerebral hemisphere and left cerebral hemisphere. Right cerebral, I will show a one diagram for you yesterday in last lecture also. So this is a, if you see from upper side, just we have drawing this, these are the two hemisphere, first hemisphere and second hemisphere, and this first right hemisphere and left hemisphere has been separated by the long fissure, long fissure, long fissure, or longitudinal longitudinal fissure. Fissure means one straight or depressive line that separate the right hemisphere and left hemisphere. So we'll see in the next lecture that next slide. Cerebral hemisphere is divided by the median of long fissure or longitudinal fissure, one and the same. You may say that long fissure or longitudinal fissure. Next slide I will share with you. Now we'll see in detail about the cerebrum. Now cerebrum, we'll see. First point, what we say for the cerebrum, another name, that is a telencephalon. That is called as a telencephalon. The two hemisphere internally connected to each other by a thick band of nerve. This internally, these two hemisphere, now see this, these are the two hemisphere. I will again draw the diagram. These two hemisphere, what happened here, many nerves, many axon bundle is founding, and these axon bundles of nerves, they will connect this right and left hemisphere, that is connected with the help of thick band of nerve fibers called as a corpus callosum, that is called as a corpus callosum. If question arise like this, these two hemisphere is attached by dash, so you should say that the two hemisphere, cerebral hemisphere is attached with each other with the help of corpus callosum, that is attached with the help of corpus callosum and separated by the longitudinal fissure. Two hemisphere are separated by the longitudinal fissure and attached with the help of corpus callosum. So you should know these two separate points. One is separating and one is joining it or attaching it to hemisphere. The cerebrum divided the outer surface. Actually, about this is a cerebrum part, and the outermost part, most of the at the membrane or outer layer, there is having the presence of more amount of neuron cyton body, that is having the presence of neurons present at the periphery level of the cerebrum. The cyton body or the Cyton present at the periphery, and these axons are present in the medulla part of the cerebrum. At the peripheral area, that is called as the outer surface, or that is also called as the cerebral cortex, and has a outer thin region composed of gray matter. Why it is having a gray matter? Because there is having the presence of cyton. Neurons cell bodies are present. Cyton is present at the cortex region of the cerebrum, and at the medulla region of the cerebrum there is having the presence of axons, and axons are having the covering of myelin sheath, and myelin sheath is made up of lipids, and it gives a white color. So the medulla part appears white and cortex part appear a gray. Why it appears a gray? Because it is having the presence of neuron cyton or cell body or soma. Point is to be clear here. Inner medulla, the middle part is a medulla, and this cerebral medulla has middle region composed of white matter. Why it appears white? Because there is having the presence of more amount of axons present, and some of the neuronal cyton bodies are also found in the medulla. They are called as basal nuclei. At the center. Followed by these, the surface of each cerebral hemisphere is greatly folded. The surface, whatever the surface of cerebral hemisphere, that shows highly folds by a many convolutions. Many convolutions means upwards and downwards. These are called as a convolution. We may say it as a convolution. This upward and downward. Upward is called as a gyri, and downward that is called as a sulci and gyri. So this convolution or gyri and grooves called as a sulci. Grooves means one kind of a deepness. Groove, having a groove or line on the plane surface, that is called as a groove, as we have been studied in the chapter about circulation. In circulation we have seen the grooves on the wall of the heart. So there is a one kind of a deep line, that is called as a gyres, and grooves called as a sulci. So this brain is having the upward and downward projections. Upward projections are called as a gyri. You can say it as a singular form gyri or gyrus, or you may say it is a gyri and sulci. This greatly increase the total surface area. These upward and downward manifolds, what happened? This manifold increase the surface area. As you know that many neurons or numerous neurons are mainly present in the cerebrum, so you have to adjust this neuron. So this manifolds will give a space for the many neurons, as it increases the surface area by this folding structure. This greatly increased the total surface area and accommodation of a vast number of nerve cells. Means many number nerve cells or many neurons may be present on that. Each cerebral hemisphere is further divided into 4 main lobes. Actually, each cerebral hemisphere is further divided into 4 main lobes. For separating into main 4 lobes, these 3 deep sulci, depressions are there. 3 deep sulcis. First one is the central sulcus, and which Democrates means separate the frontal lobe. Frontal, you know that frontal part of your brain will separate from the parietal, that is the upper, that is the roof of your brain, that is called as a parietal layer. Means this central sulcus will separate the frontal brain from the parietal brain, that is called as a central sulcus, will do the separation. Then parieto-occipital sulcus. This occipital is the back part of your brain, occipital, and parietal is the roof part of your brain. So it will separate the roof and back part of your brain, that separate the parietal from the occipital, that is separated with the help of parieto-occipital sulcus. Then last one is the salvian sulcus, or you may say that lateral. Lateral means sidely. You also say for the lateral, that is a temporal part, temporal lobe or lateral. So separate the temporal lobe from the parietal. So this lateral part in front, upward region of your ears upward region, that is actually called as the lateral part or temporal part. Lateral or temporal is separated by the salvian sulcus or lateral sulcus. Means parietal part and temporal or lateral part is separated by the salvian sulcus, or you may say it as a lateral sulcus. So next slide. In next slide we'll see that functional areas of cerebrum. First of all, we have to study the functional areas of cerebrum. So cerebrum, actually, that we are having the many folded parts in the cerebrum. Cerebrum shows highly folded. Why it shows highly folded? Because they are having the numerous neurons, and to adjust that neuron there shows a folding, and this folded area increases the surface area and it will adjust the neuron. So it shows two types of one shows a depression, that is sulcus, and it is called as a, in singular form you may say it is sulcus, and plural you may say it is sulci. Like that it shows depressions are shown by the sulcus, and upward ridges region, rise or raise portion, that is shown by the gyrus. Singular may you may say it as a gyrus, and plural you may say it a gyri, you may say it gyri. Then more neurons are present, so that folded part that increase the surface area, as I have explained you. So I have drawn the this cerebral part, and you are knowing that this is a part of, this is a spinal cord, this is a part of spinal cord, this is a medulla oblongata, this is a pons varolii, this is a cerebellum, and this is a midbrain. Actually this is a midbrain. Above the midbrain there is having the presence of in this there is a one box, that is one box like this, that is called as a diencephalon. So first we have to see just about the this cerebrum and functional areas of the cerebrum. As you see this first of all, this cerebrum has been divided into mainly four lobes. This lobe is called as a frontal lobe. This lobe is called as a forehead, that is called as a frontal lobe. This upper roof region, that is called as a parietal lobe, that is called as a parietal lobe. And this last backward, that is called as a occipital lobe, that is a occipital lobe. And this one sidely present, that is called as a temporal lobe. Means that in cerebrum has been divided into mainly two hemisphere, and both the hemisphere are divided into four lobes. Actually you will calculate about the two lobes, that means cerebrum is divided into eight lobes, equal means both are divided into eight lobes, and similar lobes, that is a frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital and temporal, or you may say temporal, occipital, parietal and frontal. So these four lobes, actually this frontal and parietal is separated by the central sulcus, that is having the separated by the central sulcus, and this parietal and occipital is separated by the parieto-occipital sulcus, and this parietal and this temporal or lateral, that is a salvian sulcus, that is separated by the salvian sulcus or lateral sulcus. So you might be have been known about these four lobes. First of all we'll see some major areas which are helpful. First of all, this is a frontal part, and this frontal, that is actually called as a prefrontal cortex. This region is called as a prefrontal cortex region. It is present in the forebrain, that is a complex brain. Actually it is a complex brain function, that is imagination, that work for the imagination, creativity, personality, decision making. This actually in the forehead, that is a very important part, that is called as a prefrontal cortex. It plays a very vital role in the whole development of the imagination, personality development, decision making. All the functions are carried by the prefrontal cortex region of the this frontal brain. Then again followed by this, there is having the presence of that motor part. This is a motor area. Motor area actually work for commanding whatever the sensory nerve that is going to carry the impulse, that it will take the information towards the brain. Brain will interpret with the help of association area, and this association area will take some decision, and that will be carried out by this motor area. So voluntary actions means movement of your body, that is actually carried out commanded by the motor area. Again followed by this, there is having the presence in the parietal lobe. In this parietal lobe there is having the presence of somatosensory area. Actually that is having the presence of somatosensory area, and this sensory area senses about the heat, cold, touch, pressure and pain. Actually soma means body. Actually whatever there is change in the temperature, our body says that it is very hot, if it is very cold, that shows a sensitive for this somatic a part, that is sense for the heat, cold, touch. If someone touches your body, it also show the touch, also the pressure on the body, and again the pain. So that area is called as a somatosensory area. That is a somatosensory. Actually it is present in the parietal lobe, that is a parietal. Followed to that, there is having the presence of, this is a associated area. This followed to this, there should be presence of associated area, and this sensory will, if there is so hot, this will take a that neuron will take a information towards this associated sensory area, and that will be interpreted by the associated area, and that command will be given by the motor area. Motor area is only singly present, that is actually present in the frontal lobe, that is present in the frontal lobe. Then followed to that, we are going to see and the temporal region. In this temporal region, there are the two things are present. There is having the presence of olfactory nerves in the temporal region, that olfactory is related with the smell, and another one, that is a auditory sensory area. There is having the presence in the temporal auditory sensory area, and this auditory is associated area also followed to this auditory associated area. Whatever the sensory neuron will take auditory, if you listen for someone have been given you the bad words, that will be interpreted by the associated area, and the command will be given by the motor area. So these two main areas, olfactory area and auditory sensory area, that are mainly present in the temporal region. Again, in this frontal, there is also having the presence of Broca's area. This is called as a Broca's area. This Broca's is also called as a Broca's speech area. This is whatever the speech now I am giving to you, that is actually carried out by this Broca's area. It helps in the formation of words. Whatever the words are formatted in my mind, that are given by the movement of my tongue and lips to you. So this is called as a Broca's area, that help in the formation of words, Then followed to this, there is having the presence of, lastly there is having the presence of here. This is called as a vernix. This is a vernix. This vernix help to understand. Whatever you are now listening to me, that helps to understand for you. Understand you when someone is teaching. Now I am teaching to you, that you are understanding that part or that system is carried out by the vernix area, that to understand the speech, that is carried out by the vernix area. Then another, followed to that, there is having the presence of occipital lobe. In occipital lobe, you see there in the your frontal that skull, there is having the presence of eye socket, and then from eye there is a nerve carried out towards the last part, that is in the occipital lobe. There is a presence of visual sensory area. In the occipital, there is having the presence of visual sensory area, and that followed to that, there is having the presence of visual associated area. So these are the some of the functional areas we have studied in the brain. These are the some of the functional part which are mainly present in the brain. Thank you for this lecture.